the coach can't control that. He can only control what he can control. And from the point Durant hit a three to go up with about a minute and a half, the team bundled the final of the game. No more better example than up one. They get a rebound with about 35 seconds.
Yep.
No time. He's got 2 timeouts. He doesn't use one. They wind up with a Bruce Brown 10-footer with 10 seconds on the shot clock. No one knows they have a foul to give. No one sprints back on defense. The Bucks get an easy, inexcusable layup, and they lose the game. And subsequently, they lost the season. And a player Curry probably doesn't get hurt in a game where they're up 3-0. That intensity level would have been totally different. And that's where you can really point to it. That was if Nash had a bad moment in the playoffs, that was it. After that point, I think he was just, dealing with a bad deck.
See, I have more of an issue. I'm curious what you guys think. Like I was at games 1 and 7, so I wasn't at 5 or 2. But and I guess 2 doesn't matter because Harris actually shot well in that game. Like Harris got to the point where, we all have like those moments in like whether it's like Little League or when you're playing rec basketball or whatever it is, where you realize like, oh, I'm not an NBA player because not only do I not have the physical skills, but like you have moments where like the nerves get to you and you don't want the ball in your hands. And like Harris, when he was going around picks, it looked like he was almost taking like the longer route, so he wasn't getting the ball. He on defense became an absolute liability. He like wasn't looking for his shots, even coming across screens. And like to me, that was the only thing where I could kind of be like, why not just put in like fucking Shamet? Like I thought Shamet like had energy.
No.
Yeah,
just look at what Shamet shot. He wasn't going to help the situation either.
But it's also hard. I mean, it's hard for a shooter like him who needs to be in rhythm to be mad at him if he's 0 for 1 or 0 for 2. Like he's not playing at all. Like
the reason why I even brought up, and you can react to this, Bam. The reason why I even brought up Harris again wasn't to just belabor the point that he's the reason or the difference between Nash having a good series or not. I brought him up because that's how when you're looking at Dinwiddie's value.
Yep.
The question that you have to imagine as a GM is like, all right, if I have Dinwiddie too, does that give me Kyrie insurance? Like they had a hell of a time, and they will have a hell of a time looking for another point guard to give them Kyrie insurance. Like the Nets' bad luck just isn't just losing Kyrie; it's losing Dinwiddie and Kyrie. Because if we had Dinwiddie, I don't think we're even worried about the fact that
totally right. That's the biggest Dinwiddie thing is that he's harder than Kyrie insurance, and he's skilled enough that he can be your first or second leading scorer on a mediocre to bad team, and if they had him, they're probably fine. Like even with the, which is insane to say. How many other teams can say, oh yeah, we lost James Harden and Kyrie Irving, but we have this other guy who has the biggest chip on his shoulder I've ever seen and thinks he's better than everyone on the court.
Yeah, and I was picturing it, Sam. I was picturing it. Seeing him drive to the basket and just, draw fouls and just taking some of the pressure off of KD.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think we need him, right, Bam?
I mean, look, he's not coming back. I don't think he wants to be here anymore. I don't think he's interested in being a third ball handler. And I can't say that I blame him for that. But, yeah, obviously not having him this season, first off, it could have altered the trade package where maybe he goes instead of Jared Allen.
Right.
Maybe he goes and Karis LeVert doesn't go. Who knows?
That's another thing. That's another argument we can make in trying to figure out where do we go from here. Is I also think if we had Jared Allen starting at center, I don't think we have those early leads that we always had to overcome from the Bucks, and not because he would have scored, but because he would have defended better than.
Well, how about this?
Yeah, but Blake was pretty good though.
I don't think so. I think he was passable, but I don't think he was good.
he could. Blake did, he gave you the most he could, but how many times did Giannis miss the back end of a free throw and they get a rebound and hit a three?
Yeah,
it happened. It happened late in the game. It was a huge killer. We were up 5 and he missed 2. They got the rebound and they hit a 3.
Almost as bad as Joe missing that 3. Almost as bad as Joe hitting that 3 is not getting the rebound off of that free throw. Like, mission accomplished. You put Giannis on the line, he misses, and you don't secure the rebound.
Yeah, you're up 5 with like 2.5 minutes to go. I mean, that's a huge swing in the game. Also, he gives you a lob threat. How many? Blake can't catch a lob, unless the entire scenario plays out perfectly for him to get the,
he needs a lot of
momentum
runway
into the jump. We had no vertical threat, which was the one reason to, one argument for playing Jordan is he does give you that vertical spacing that they really lacked with Griffin. Griffin at this stage of his career is a good backup center who can come in, he can give you points. When you have guys missing, he can step up and score. But yeah, he's not a starting center anymore, at all.
Yeah, unfortunate. Would have been nice if we could have kept Jared Allen, but
I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge comes to the Nets. The guy's been fine. He's got a heart problem. He retires. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You don't think we could have used him? He would have gave them some baskets. He can hit a 17-footer. You could post him up when you need a basket. He can get an offensive rebound. He can set a screen. He can pass.
The LaMarcus and Dinwiddie thing were like when you just think about them, and you even take the Kyrie and Harden thing out of the picture, which is actually like an amazing testament to what Marks did in terms of the fact that it's like even if you take away 2 of the best like 6 scorers of basketball, but what's amazing is that Dinwiddie and Aldridge, let's say those 2 guys are healthy. Both those guys just know how to get a bucket, and like the Nets, I don't know like about you guys, I like started losing my mind watching like Bruce Brown and Blake struggle to just like hand the ball off back to KD. It literally felt like it felt like a 6th grade game where like there's only one guy on the team who knows how to dribble with his right and left hand, and you're just like, no, we got to give it back to like Timmy because he's the only guy who started puberty yet, so we got to give him the ball. It was actually ridiculous. I was screaming because I was losing. Like, you watch Bruce Brown and he took 2 dribbles, got nervous, held the ball like it was his child, and then waited for KD to like run up to him and grab the ball. And the amount of time that was wasted was just unbelievable. Like, it was
another argument for needing Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if they can do it. And maybe Dinwiddie wants his own team, but if they got nothing for Dinwiddie, that was a mistake.
Well, Marks intimated today that pretty strongly that they're going to be open to some sort of assistance on the side and trade. If you actually look, there's not a lot of teams with cap space. So for Dinwiddie to get his money, it may have to come via sign and trade. So the Nets can maybe get a player back or even another draft choice or something to that effect.
Right.
They got to get him back, or they got to get something back, or else it's
trade exception.
It's a bit. You cannot when you're this far over the cap with every asset you have, you gotta get something back in return. This is what happened with the Celtics. You look at the Celtics; they lost Hayward for nothing. It's a huge.
Well, hold on, Sam. They did sign and trade into the Hornets. They got a massive trade exception in return to Evan Fournier. Yeah, they got Evan Fournier with it.
That's true. They ended up using it for Fournier, but
now they have his bird rights.
But they also could have.
They're not signing him back. He's trash.
That's what
that's a good point.
Steven said.
Mistaken, but they could have also gotten. They were also offered a deal where they could have gotten McDermott and Miles Turner, which you could and so the Fournier thing happened kind of late. On top of the fact that Fournier is historically one of the worst playoff basketball players ever, but that's kind of besides the point. But I mean.
Forget the player. That's what the Nets. That would probably be the best case scenario. Is they send whoever Dinwiddie signs with, they send them a 2nd round pick. The Nets get a trade back exception back in along, and then they hope at the deadline somebody's just looking to shed some salary.
Yeah, I mean, I just think look, because the huge thing is that even if you
sound good.
Let's say you sign back Dinwiddie and you basically tell him, even if he doesn't necessarily want to stay with them, it's at least a player in that mid, like a lot of like the NBA like salary cap guru guys will always talk about how like, you need to have guys now that are in that sweet spot between $15 and $21 million a year that are kind of like in between. They're not max guys, but they're in between, so you can still trade them for either like two littler pieces or a bigger piece, and that's where Joe Harris is also, which is a whole other topic of what his future is with the Nets. But like that's, I mean, I don't totally get the whole Dinwiddie thing, because it seems like if he wanted his own team, that's something that should have been like absolutely thrown out there and that everyone would have known about. And so I just don't. That's why I'm just so confused about everything about it. And Marks isn't one to waste any opportunity with an asset. And so I'm just that whole situation. I'm a little confused about. But look, I mean, they have big decisions to make on Blake. Is Jeff Green going to go try to cash in? Is Bruce Brown going to go try to cash in? Because as we've seen, like these three guys, as good as they are, and you honestly only need two of the three, but they clearly need other help. And you look at these championship teams that are top heavy, every team needs those role player guys to step up, whether it's, like the Battiers or the Mike Millers or the James Posies or the Eddie Houses, whoever it is. Like,
I'll give you a name to watch who has a non-guaranteed contract that looks like his team is not going to pick up, and he doesn't seem happy there. A team that's probably going to look to reshape the roster in some ways. Nurkic.
They can't get him.
He had a bad injury the year before. He did not have a good season this year. He's an older big man. They don't tend to get paid. I don't think it's impossible.
I think PJ Tucker might be on the team next year.
Well, PJ Tucker, yeah, he'd be a guy that gets like a minimum or a taxpayer mid-level, something like that.
Look, they're definitely gonna have players. Like I think JJ might be on the team this coming year.
No interest in that.
Yeah, I don't know. Right,
I think he's shot.
I don't know what the interest is in him, but I think there's definitely going to be guys that are out there and that are going to want to play for the Nets or for Nash, whoever it is. But I'm right now. I'm honestly a little concerned because Eve went from being the most positive person in the five boroughs, and now I'm like wondering what his pulse is.
I'm not happy. I don't think I'm going to be right.
To be happy about.
I don't think I'm going to be right until I see them winning games again. And like I said, I'm worried about the future of the team. I realize from this playoffs that they need more. They need more horses.
No, they don't. They need their horses that they have.
But they need a backup to their horses. Like they don't even have they don't have a backup center, and they don't have a backup center. Well, look, and they don't have a backup point guard.
Well, the backup center will be Nick Claxton.
Yeah.
Right. For the regular season, and then they're going to have to find a starter. Even a guy like Alex Len would help immensely. Just like a big body that can catch and finish down there.
Yep, I agree. I think they got a little cute, I think, with the roster in that they probably thought like, oh, we're I can't even say they probably got cute because as Bam said, like the unluckiness with the roster is also not Marks' fault. Like the Aldridge thing would have been huge. Obviously the Dinwiddie thing.
I think not signing PJ Tucker was a mistake. I wasn't looking at PJ Tucker, but I feel like they could have gotten PJ Tucker and not getting him was a mistake.
Well, let's say they signed Aldridge and Tucker, and then they lose Aldridge. Have Griffin. Now you're fucked at the 5.
You don't think
he was looking at the 5 position like, I have nothing there. I'm going to sign 2 guys capable of playing the 5. That's what I need. And if those guys stay healthy, I think they make a better impact for the Nets than Tucker does.
I have a non-personnel thing that I actually think is actually the thing that I'm the most nervous about, and I know that Bam will probably agree with me on this. There's also the elephant in the room of Udoka, Vaughn, and D'Antoni are all up for 3 different jobs, and I think those guys were coaching the team as much as Nash was, and That's going to be a big change. I mean, I know they'll be able to get whatever assist